Dear member of the Luxembourg industry ecosystem, dear neighbors from the greater region and from the rest of Europe, dear solution providers, warm welcome to this new episode of the L-DIH Talks addressing the digital transformation in an Industry 4.0 context. My name is Arno Lambert. I am the director of the Luxembourg Digital Innovation Hub, and I will be your host today. This session is part of a wider initiative, the DIH World Community Days, which is a set of conferences proposed by over 80 DIH in Europe on the topic of digital transformation. So I would encourage you, after that, also to look at what other countries in DIH do provide. For the ones not yet familiar with the DIH, let me quickly introduce what is a Digital Innovation Hub. We are actually a one-stop shop for digital support for the industry. We are based here in Luxembourg at Lux Innovation, the innovation agency, and we are a partnership of the Luxembourg Institute of Science and Technology, the university, the Fonds National de Recherche, the Federation, the Industry Federation, the Chamber of Commerce. So we are a group that are here to provide and help the digital transformation of the industry in Luxembourg, both on a national front, putting in relation the needs and the local actors, and also national funding, but also on the European level with competences that across Europe, as well as financing that would be from European funds. But without further ado, what I want to cover is, first of all, before we really start, is to do some housekeeping. You will see that on the right-hand side of your screen, you have a few buttons. You have the chat, you have questions, polls, and people you know who is around. On the Q&A tab, the questions, you can post all your questions. And the polls, you will be invited to interact with us with a set of polls, and that's where you will find the polls. Please note that the session is recorded so that you can watch it again in replay mode. And this session is really focusing on digitizing the customer experience. And I already invite you for the next session that will take place in May, the 20th of May, where we are going to look at the supplier experience, the digitalization of the supplier. But here, let's focus on the customer experience. And for that, I have the pleasure to welcome two guests today. Laurent Seul, who is the CEO of Minusine, and Mark Sergon, who is the manager partner of Envision. And both of them are joining me today to share later on their practical experience on this topic of digitizing the customer experience. And I must say, if we look into the industry is not exactly the front runner of digitizing the customer experience in B2B. And we're going to see the practical experience in a company and somebody helping the companies to go into that challenge. But let's start first to see who is around the table in the audience. We have the pleasure to count many people around, but the first question I'm going to ask you, and to go to the polls, is to have, in what type of business are you? Are you in purely B2B, business to business? Are you in business to consumer, or are you both in B2B and B2C? So if you could go on the right-hand side of your screen, on the dongle polls, you will find the question, and you have three answers, A, B, or C. If you could click one of them and then submit vote, that will be very helpful. While you are voting massively, because we count to have the right representation, let me reintroduce you the Industry 4.0 that we had from the previous session a month ago. And the key point there was Industry 4.0 is part of course, an additional revolution of the industry sector. And it started in 2015. And the key point about that, it's about digital, smart, and connected. But it's only the forefront of a digital ecosystem, which actually will be even more integrated. And here we see with virtual customer interface. So in the end, what is actually the place of the customer in all that? We're going to cover that in a moment. But I gave you the time to vote, so thank you for voting. And we can see here the majority of the audience is really in B2B or potentially in B2B and B2C, and it's exactly what we're going to address today. And we're going to see also the correlation. Moving on, you're going to work a bit more, actually. We're going to ask you, we speak about the customer. So you, as a company, how many customers do you have? Here are a few ranges. Is it below 50 customers? Is it between 51 and 250? Is it between 251 and 500? Or are you the lucky one to have even more than 500 customers to manage? And I will ask you to, again, go to your polls. You will see the next poll, and to also submit your vote so that we can see also the challenges, and for also our guests, and they will be interacting. We'll see a bit how we can be more even relevant for your business. And so thank you. While you are voting, I want to go back to what is a digitalization landscape. Most of the companies, when they approach that in an industry 4.0, will focus on the orange part, which is the industry, the production tools, and pretty much a lot of people address that. It's your core business in the end. But actually, that's not enough. The whole scope is from customer management. That's what we're discussing today. Suppliers management, we're going to discuss that in 1 month from now. Support functions and the core, that will be the topic of further sessions. So today, it's really about the customers. And coming back to the customers, we can see that the majority of, I would say, 50% of the audience here has around between 50 and 250 customers, and close to 23% are over 500. So we can see a relatively large number of customers that you need to manage, and therefore, okay, what is therefore the key points of digitizing your interaction with your customers? Well, let me draw your attention to an article of Forbes that took place earlier this year, where I say B2B e-commerce. Here is what every B2B company needs to know. And I would encourage you to find it's an open article, but if you go into a small footprint, it's about a seamless experience, a top-notch branding like B2C customers. So what does it mean? It means actually that there is an impact, and the experience on the B2B is now driven by the B2C experience. And if we speak about B2C, here we see where the experience is coming from in the digital world. Well, an internet minute in 2019, I have it for 2020, but 2020 is a bit a special year, of course, in the digitalization. So if we take what's supposed to be a normal year, in 60 seconds, this is basically the exposure on the internet of the different type of user experience in the B2C world. And it's about collaboration, it's about visualization, it's about personalization, it's about a lot of, so this is what is driving the B2C experience in digitalization. And the key point is that this experience is not translating into the B2B. So your customers is actually expecting the same type of behavior for the future in his interaction with you. And this is really a key driver that when you think about the digital transformation of a company, and when you think about the customer experience, think about that your customer is also B2C, and that's where it comes from. So we probably all have been through one of those websites. I'm not actually promoting necessarily Amazon, even if their European HQ is, of course, in Luxembourg. But basically, this is typically a B2C experience. A portal is not only a web shop. You have your orders, you can follow up a lot of things, you have your invoices, etc. This is a B2C, and a lot of us have been used to that. And if you see the growth, especially during the COVID time, you can see that it's clearly a key focus. Now, the same Amazon that I just mentioned actually has the same type of website for B2B. Maybe if you want to think about your exposure, you might want to have a look at that. And his competitor, Alibaba, is actually pretty much in B2B. B2C is also there, but they are very much in B2B. But it's not the only one. Big machinery, Massey Ferguson, also the same type of portal For the customer experience, you can actually order your super Mr. Ferguson machinery straight online, spare part, etc., etc. Customer requests, complaints if you have, etc. And closer to us, Minuzin, and we're going to hear about them in a moment, actually have applied a very interesting digital customer experience, and we're going to learn from Laurent in a moment. But before we do that, let's work again. Third poll, and I can ask you, have you already implemented a customer portal of account for your customers? So I'm not speaking here about a website. I'm really speaking about a portal where you interact with your customer. You can go from billing, can be for ordering, can be for support, whatever it is. A would be yes, it's done, tick in the box. B, no, I'm not interested for whatever reason. Or C, I haven't done it yet, but I'm planning to do it within the next 12 months. So if you could actually submit your vote here too, that would be highly appreciated. And we can therefore dive into, after that, the next topic. But we can see overall that we have a pretty qualified audience, since around 40% of them have already done it, and around 40% of them are planning to do so. So I believe we have the right guests on the panel to really discuss that, and hopefully also inspire even more the ones that have done it already, but also the ones that are thinking about that within the next 12 months. So without further ado, from a few facts, meaning from the knowledge point of view, let's really put the floor on the real experience, because this is what those webinars are. It's about sharing experience so that you actually can be richer when you're addressing that topic. And from that, I want actually to, oops, that was another point. I want to welcome Laurent, who is the CEO of Minuzin, is going to share with us his experience of his digital transformation and customer digitalization. Laurent, floor is yours.
Thank you, Arnaud. Thank you for having me on. Good morning, everybody. I'm more than happy that I can share some pitfalls and some successes of our digital transformation we are busy doing within the company. To do that, I prepared a couple of slides, and hopefully I will manage to share those slides and then to cut that long story short in 10 or 15 minutes with those couple of slides. Minuzin actually was a wholesaler for nearby 100 years. The company was created in 1925, and we were in the trade business, in the technical trade business. And over the years, we developed to a value-added distributor, and we are today roughly 80 people, generating like 35-40 million sales a year. And we're counting around 200 major big customers locally, ours, and of course we've got a long tail of customers to come up to 2,000 customers eventually. But we're focusing, especially when we're talking on B2B business, on like 200 customers, various profiles. And I think that's a major point when we're talking about web portals and digital platforms and a digital way of doing business. You've got different customers, different profiles, and you can't say one size fits it all. It's rather one size does not fit it all. All profiles are different, and this is why I would like to share an experience on the, I should say, the product market fit within the market window, and this then based on digital services you can offer to customers. To do this, I would like to go forward to the next slide. The digital transformation process within Minuzin is called Digital and Beyond. Why that? Well, it's a digital transformation, yes, but it's something where we were in 2017 when we started the project, convinced that we needed to have a good vision, so that we're looking as well beyond that transformation process. Why? Because it won't go in one day, it won't go in 1 year, it will take some time, just because there is different profiles and different services coming up, being put together in a portal, on a platform. And so we had, since a couple of years, a web shop, a simple shop where customers could order our products. We are in the electrotechnical business field, we are in the construction industry, we are delivering electricians, installers, construction companies, builders with products from seals to bring in pipes and cables into buildings, until on the other side, lighting equipments, design lighting equipments going through distribution panels, circuit breakers, switches, and all cables and all that kind of stuff you need to build up your building infrastructure and your building technology. This for small apartments, big buildings, and normal residential homes. That product portfolio changed a lot over the years, and so our business model changed as well. To us, in 2017, when we started the project, 3 major elements were important within a B2B customer environments. One is the paradigm shifts going on in the market. Just think 10 years back, when the simple Edison bulb, light bulb, changed into an LED light. That was a real paradigm shift. That one was done, I should say, around 2005 to 2015. But nowadays, there's other paradigm shifts going on. This is what I wanted to share with you on that slide. When you're looking at the simple light switch to switch on and off a light, this is a picture out of our catalog from 1940. So during World War II, a simple switch, 2 wires, 4 screws, and everybody could install it. When you're looking at what became out of that switch, the switch developed through an intelligence switch, through an application, through a no more switch, through a presence sensor or movement sensor, until voice commands we're doing today through Siri, Alexa, and other means. Same story when it comes to plugs. Simple plug, in this case the 400-volt plug, developed from a simple plug to a complex network meshed installation where we use the plug today to charge our electrical vehicle. And this is the one paradigm shift we are busy following, and within the building technology, that made us think about how can we change our way of doing business. From a pure commercial perspective and a pure logistical perspective, it's still a business where 2 people in a traditional way yesterday were standing around the counter and were discussing what would be needed, and the product were delivered. Where we wanted to transform that way of business into something online, into a portal, but where for us the traditional values we kept over 100 years need to stay through. B2B, local, and a customer proximity, a customer intimacy, especially when it comes to complex solutions. You need to be close to the customer. So we wanted to realize that, and we're still busy doing this in transforming our business models into a digital platform. Something which, of course, and that's the third major point. I mean, the whole transformation is driven by the second point, which is globalization and the digital way the world changed. The third point being important is the skills bridge you need to transform a process from one traditional way into a more digital way. The framework we were using is shown here. We said that the BIM, the Building Information Modeling methodology, is the best framework we could use, and that one will be used in a window of certainly more than 5, 10, 15, 20 years. So that methodology can help. The methodology, for those ones not being so familiarized with that methodology, actually in the building technology and in the construction industry says that it would make sense, and it makes sense to build up a digital twin of your building before you start your construction of the building. So that's, in 2 words, the framework we put in the whole transformation process. We had a vision to do that, and for us it was clear, and this is on that slide, it was clear that we needed to follow the market evolution, the changes, the paradigm shifts, the changes in the market, and end up on the other side with an intelligent building technology and intelligent new electrifications of buildings. That was put into business plans, and just to not important but still important, the transformation was foreseen over a period of several years, and we foresee that until 2025 we can generate 50% of our gross profit out of digital services in a construction industry, in a construction environment, meaning that our customer side need to follow as well this development. We need to guide them. We will need to coach them through that whole process. Another important element which came up when we developed our vision was that we are, since many years and decades, a leader in the logistical and in the distribution environment in the country, but we needed to go deeper and further in the concept and the design phase, and also to join our customers until a build and an operate phase. And this will, of course, be important. The more complex the solutions became, the more digital the solutions became, the more important it was for us to build up this orange circled bullet points, because there is a clear link in between the concept of your solution and the operation of your solution at the very end, and also talking about circular economy, the possible reuse. To do that, you need to do it in an ecosystem and together with your partners and your customers. And so you can't go faster than the customer digitalizes or joins you in that step forward. And on the business case, we defined that. We build up a platform, the whole IT infrastructure with the different parts you need to build up that platform were defined, were put in place. We are still busy to improve on certain points, building certain additional elements, things like knowing your customer, having a good insight of your business intelligence, and of course you've got as every company an ERP system you need to bring in, and then you've got in the supply chain, obviously, suppliers on one end, customers on the other side. You need to have a front end, but you need to have as well your own co-workers involved in the whole process. So this is parts of our business case, of our plans I wanted to share with you. And now I would like to give you in a couple of examples services we digitalized already, and to give you feedback how this went through and how the customer and the different customer profiles accepted this. This is something like shown on one of my first slides, and like we're working together right now in a digital way via video conferencing, and so we're exchanging information, we're exchanging experiences, we're training like this. That's easier and faster done with the modern infrastructures we have, the modern devices, mobile devices we have, and lucky or unlucky, the pandemic helped to propel this service forward. When we entered the lockdown last year, and we had the platform in place, we had the tools in place, we had our own people trained on those ones, we decided not to open up anymore after the lockdown, and this was in April or May last year, our counter. So the counter was actually changed into a digital way of taking orders, and the profiles, we are working lots with craftsmen. They are used to come to us, pick up the goods, order the goods, pick up the goods, and return to the construction site. But we strongly believe that the use of video technology and the technology we're using right now goes only through our different customer profiles step by step. And we thought when we would not open up again the counter sales as a traditional counter sales, but open it up like it's shown here on those pictures, where people come, they can enter in those soundproofed boxes, and there's many advantages doing that. They can talk to the sales rep, to the consultants. They can have advices. They can discuss in a soundproofed and not disturbed environment, and can get even a better consultancy, a better advice, just because it's very simple. On one click, you can have another expert joining that discussion. And so the value adds in the pure sales profile, in the pure sales process, improved a lot. It was a success. It was a real success, at such a point that, because our goal initially planned was not to have those boxes set up next to our old and traditional counter, but was to have people doing this from our portal via either an appointment or via a trigger where they would build up the video chat, and then from the construction site, out of their offices, out of their cars on the construction site, discuss with the sales rep and get delivered with the product to the construction site. There we are just semi-digitized, I should say, for the moment, just because the profile of our customers is perhaps not yet at that point. They prefer coming here, picking up the goods, and so on. So what I would like to share with you as an experience is, don't push it too much. It might take a bit longer, in the sense that the different profiles need to adapt. It's a question of customer adoption of your digital services, and then it could be in a two-step way where you're getting fully digitalized. Too many customers coming to visit us to pick up the goods. We needed to digitize internal processes in order, and again, the pandemic COVID-19 hit us a bit on that. We couldn't have queuing up people in front of those soundproof boxes. We couldn't have too many people in the building. So in an additional step, we digitized the way they could wait for their turn, and they could wait to get their goods prepared and to take them back to the construction site. Simple pages, we all know those pages from the pizza ordering services were put in place, but dashboards needed to be installed quickly and from one day to another. Internally, this is in the warehouse, where people need to know how many customers are waiting outside, how many customers do we need to serve, and the customers, they gaining time, even if pick up those goods, ordering the goods takes like 10 minutes within Minusin. Those 10 minutes can be long if you need to wait. Here, they don't have to wait. They're taking a picture, passing through in the soundproof boxes their order, going out back into their cars, into their lorries, and can phone there, continue to work actually until the pager sounds, and they can pick up the goods, drive back to the construction site, and use it. Again, a semi-digitalized process, not yet finished, but a very interesting experience we had in the. Of course, there's many others not coming to pick up the goods. They're ordering online, and they are going to be delivered. But you've got different profiles, and I think you need to deal with those different profiles. We also tried to spare actually paperwork with other services we put already into our portal, taking appointments, especially for our design lighting solutions, where people can take online appointments. They can choose for a digital appointment, so video conference, or an appointment where they come into our application room in our showrooms and discuss that with with a consultant, or for that on arrivals, returning goods to us, we tried to digitalize that. So step by step, service by service, over the last 2 years, we are trying to bring that into the portal and to actually influence the customers from the different profiles to use it. But it doesn't go in one go, it doesn't go in one step. To improve that, and that's the next step here, is screenshots from internal training sessions, internal initiatives we had taken a couple of years ago to train us actually in video technologies to bring over a message. We created information channels internally, we created training channels, we created a channel how to use something in order to digitize a process, first internally, and then afterwards externally with our customers, with our partners. So what I want to show here, it's something which was done perhaps 3 or 4 years ago, and 10 years ago, certainly in a meeting room, which takes time, complex process. You do it online in a digital way, first internally, and then try to bring it out externally and guide and coach your customer towards your digital platform, towards your different services, which unfortunately or fortunately change quite quickly, and the need changes quickly just because of the whole world changing quickly, the solutions in the building technology is changing quickly. And so we think that we are adapted now in 2021, and that since 2 years now, to shoot our plan until 2025 and to realize with success our business cases. But I can confirm and reconfirm that there were pitfalls, and there probably will be still pitfalls where we need to find bypasses and ways to overcome those ones. This is just a couple of examples I wanted to share with you. Hopefully, I could bring a bit closer and a bit more insight into what our digital transformation process means for us, meant for us, and will mean for us. We are busy doing this. We're convinced, even as a very, very small distributor, compared to many of our international competitors. I was happy and proud to see that Arnaud put us on the same page with Amazon and Alibaba, but I don't think we are yet there, but we're working on that. Thank you. If you have questions, you can ask them now or later on. I don't know, Arnaud, I give you back the word and how we go on.
Thank you, Laurent, and very impressive to see what has been done. I mean, a lot of questions already, so we're going to take one just now, and then after that, we want to make sure that we have also Mike sharing his own experience. But I think just a few messages here. I think the key point we could see is that digitizing the customer experience, it's really about further increasing the proximity and the intimacy in the digital world. So it's not opposing one or the other. I think was a key message from I really could take. And one of the questions I think I will lay there, that is because you say you need to do it with your customer. I think one of the questions was, how did you associate your customer to the transformation?
Yeah, we try to associate, to bring them in at all moments. This started already 5 or 6 years ago when we started selling online. You've got the customer need. It's about proximity, communication, knowing what his needs are, knowing what he can do, and then don't forget, in our trade business, the technology plays a role as well, and the fast evolution in the building technology plays a role. So where years ago the clear need of the customer was known, and he could tell us immediately, I need this and this and this and this, changed a bit over time. He comes more to discuss. He says, well, I would like to do that solution. What do I need? So it's typically the concept, the design being done together. And so for us, interactivity, having the customer on board from the beginning on, even if he doesn't, or if the project doesn't go through, it's important to exchange and actually to have that experience exchange and the skills bridge done in one way and in the other, because we are, as an importer, as a distributor as well, a link, I think, for the local market in between the manufacturing industry in our field, which is mostly outside the country, unfortunately. So we're importing those goods, but we've got the links to the development centers, to the production centers of those companies, and we that's our ecosystem. We bring together from the manufacturer to the end customer via the architect, the engineers, and all the people involved in the construction of a building around the table. And this is how we exchange. It's a question of exchanging communication.
Thank you, Laurent. And there are more questions. We're going to take them later on. Just to make sure to also leave the floor to Mike and speak about how you interact with your customers and different profiles, etc. I mean, Mike, floor is yours, and enlighten us on the experience for the one that's still thinking about doing that, and how to best approach that, and with a few cases you have. Welcome, Mike.
Hello all. Thanks, Arnaud. Thanks, Laurent, already for your sharing and the presentation you did above. Yes, so I am Mike, managing partner from Envision. Is a digital company who was founded 20 years ago from some courageous young boys, but who believe that digital will have a major role in the future. So today and tomorrow, we did already a lot of things. We are, by the way, also one of the co-creators of DigiCash, and so building ecosystems and digital approaches is something that we like. We like to create, and we like for also to co-create with our customers or partners or with the consumer. For that, what we will try to do, I think Arnaud did already to summarize the situation where we are today. Laurent gave some specific examples how they did it, but I think the question we always, the people come to us, okay, I want to do it, but I don't know how to do it. There are a lot of questions, and I will try at least to share our experience or to give an idea on one possibility to say, okay, if you want to start in that direction, here is how you can do it. First, to begin is, I just want to have a few words about myth and truths of digitalization. What is a myth? It's all about technology. No, it is not. Basically, it's more about, and Laurent pointed at several points in his presentation, is mainly humans talking or working with humans. So behavioral is very important. It is normally not one-off project where you say, oh, we're going to do this, and then afterwards, ciao, it's already. No, it's more an attitude, and when you begin, normally there are a lot of things who are gonna change or be implied. So it's not a separate thing. So it's not. We have to step out of thinking of silos, working and have a more horizontal view of things. Because it's going to impact a different person and different departments in your company. It always makes it better. No, depending how it does. I think it's going to be better if there is well thought and it's just if it suits the needs that you identify and you want to work on. Following other best companies' practice is a way to achieve it. No, because basically, as I will try to choose, a digital transformation is unique. It's your transformation because every company has a different way of working and different needs, different problematic. This could be relationship with the clients. It could be more selling to the client. This could be even more organization or a better organization internally. So that is specific to yours. Of course, you can have a look of what other did, but copying is not the solution. It's making really what is making sense for you and for your organization. So what is true is it's an organization transformation. Normally, when you begin with such a project, you're gonna change procedures, you're gonna change the way you work, it might change the way you're making business in certain times. So that will have an effect on culture. And what's often said is culture eats strategy for breakfast. So you need to implement that in all the things you do and all the reflection you do, because it's going to change also the way you're working, and it's going to automatically have a change on your culture and the people who are working there. So cultural and behavioral are one of the main challenges when you begin in digital transformation. Normally, digital transformation, even if it would sound the very first thing where you go to, it's not led by IT, but the IT has to be on the same table. So it's co-creating with the IT. And as I said before, transformation is unique yours. It's yours, and you have to define what you want to do with it. So, how to start? How to make a consumer experience a key success? I think there are several approaches to do it, but we want to focus on one particularly, is the creation of a prototype. Okay, what is a prototype? I mean, when you're identifying several needs and several problematics you have internally, it could be, okay, we want to make, we want to sell online, or we want to make a delivery, or we want to platforms for service clients. So that could go in very different directions. But before you go and say, okay, you're going to order the whole thing, try with a prototype. What is a prototype? A prototype is basically at the end of the results, you got a maquette, if you want to, with wireframes or designs, where you can have actively look on what's going to be the result afterwards. Because normally at the beginning, when you are in a situation, it's like you're standing in front of a white paper. Say, okay, I know that I have to do something, but it's already good if you know what you have to do. And on what you have to work, but sometimes even this is not given. You know you have to change it, but you don't know what to do. And there you begun, that's the first step, basically, that's a discovery context, knowing where you're standing, what you want to do, what you want to achieve, where you want to go, where you want to optimize the things. It could be internal, it could be external, it could be also the relationship with your customers. Once you did that, you have certain user requirements. You say, okay, I want to sell online. Okay, what does this mean? And then you go, if I want to sell online, this would also mean that it's not just shop, but it's the whole thing, the red tail behind, from logistic, warehouse, etc., etc. And then the prototype is going to help you, because prototyping is setting up through different exercises, piece by piece, the different things to come at the end of, okay, it's gonna look like this. And once you have this, you could even go further and even put design on it, that you have sort of as a living maquette where you can click through, and then where you can see yourself, okay, it's gonna look like this or like this or like this. I just show you the way, maybe in short time, how to get there. With that, maybe some of you know already personas. So it's basically the exercise of you identify a person, a client who want to interact with you, buying convenience, service, get information from you. Okay, you're putting it in this way and say, okay, if this person wants to buy something, this product, let me how it's going to happen. Once you did that, you're going to think about more UX, user experience, to say, okay, if I want to do that, I need to put this information on this place in a site. Here's an example of wireframes, what we did for the CFL site, where they had many of different topics. I think we did around 50 different workshops because they have so many different topics to resolve that we took them one by one and then afterwards making hierarchy of it and say, okay, that's your main topic. So you're going to be you're going to put this information on that side, and it's going to work like this, like this, like. And step by step, it's like building a house. I mean, you have an idea, you make plans, you're beginning to build step by step, and afterwards you have an end product where you can work on it. Once you did that, you could go to the UI, so talking about colors, emotions, decide. So that's the result. So basically what we did from the wireframe to afterwards the result and the site was online. Okay, you're gonna say now, and I had to talk about, yeah, that's the CFL. It's one of the largest company in Luxembourg from employees on. Okay, but that's an exercise you could do at every size. If you had 10, 50, 100, 3,000. Why? Why is put in that thing is what I told before, taking the courage to go in the direction of digitalization needs a lot of reflection, needs a lot of change internally, and sometimes you need to have an idea where you go to. And the old days where where someone comes with a cahier des charges of 300 pages, they are over because they come, they give you the pages of 300 pages, and you have to read page by page and know, okay, is that what I signed for? And you don't know what you're gonna get at the end, really, and that is changing. It's really experience. And another point, what is very important, and I saw already that's a question about it, this gives you the chance to involve all the people you want to involve. It's often used, the prototype is often used to have an internal check with your employees to say, okay, that's what we want to do. Is that correct? You know the customers or the relation. If we take in some example of how you work with them or how you sell, would that fit? Yes or no? But this go even further. It's also to involve customers themselves, because they know what they want from you. They know what they want to buy from you. They want to know what they want they want to exchange with you, or how they want to collaborate with you. Asking them, okay, that's what we intend to do. Is that the right way? You will be wondering. You got a real good feedback from them, and always in mind to get what you do in a better way. And once you got that feedback, you're talking with your HR, you're talking with the customers. There's one big step is, okay, you have to present it to the board of your company. They also have to be convinced, because they have to say, okay, we go in that direction with all that it means. That will be a change of process. It's also a question of money, of course, investments, and they want to know, okay, if I do that, what is the output? And therefore, a prototype, as I saw before, if you're small or big, is always one interesting exercise, because you got something concrete before you do the big investments. Two examples very fast, and then I give back to Arnaud. As I told you before, we did the whole universe of CFL, but I took one specific CFL multimodal. It's very small in all the organization of the CFL, but it has specific needs. It's everything what's done with freight, so transport of goods, of materials, and so on. They had definitely specific needs, and I think there are 80 or 100 working there. So we did the same exercise with them as we did for the 3,000 others. And that was such an example to give you the size doesn't matter. It's always the needs, and it's always what you want to achieve afterwards where you have to combine. Another example, that's a Seco Group, group in Luxembourg, but also international. They are around 80 to 100 here in Luxembourg. They specialize in construction, so they do the audit afterwards in construction. It was the same with them. We got to first contact with them and say, okay, we want a capture tool. We want when we go on the fields, we want the engineers have the possibility to take a photo of the plan where they are and already make a problem report to say, okay, here there's something wrong, you have to fix it, and that already the people who are in charge of that could be suppliers, that could be client side, they already get the information from there on. And that's what I said before. It's not only it's not just only the sales, but it's also how people work together and making one thing, and it's maybe user experience is important, and convenience is another subject what's also important. You have to keep in mind that all your employees are using devices like this, an iPhone or whatever, with all different apps, one more beautiful than the other, and they have as main word user experience and convenience. And I think nowadays you have also to give them the possibility to do that on their work, and the relationship with your clients the same. And yeah, that's basically what I want to say, and to say that as I told before, size doesn't matter, it's just the will to go in that direction, and taking it step by step will help you to get basically a vision or an idea where you want to go concrete, and then afterwards take the decision, okay, that's the right decision I want to go for or not. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mike. I mean, very interesting also experience how to get there, demystifying what it is less, and the approach. I think what I keep there again from your message, it's about human dealing with humans, be it a customer, be it an employee, being whatever. It's about it. That's the center of it, and that's why in how you approach it, the prototype is something where it's the best way to actually use that as a tool to interact with the other humans, and therefore in a practical and a concrete way, so that you can co-design. There was a question that we had before about how you involve the people. It's about involvement. And I think that what I like in your CFL experience, that it's, as you said, I mean, it's, on one hand side is to the voyageur, so the traveler, so that's B2C, but clearly on the CFL multi-load, it's clearly B2B, but it's actually B2C, B2B, same game, same approach, same challenges. So I think that's very interesting also to have it from that perspective. So thank you very much. So I'm turning to the questions because of course we have also an interactive audience here. And the first question I would like to tackle, which is also something I have in mind, is to Laurent. It's do you use AI? I mean, besides chatbots, and if yes, how is it incorporated, and how do you tackle the ethical issue related to AI?
Yeah, I've seen that. Christina was wondering about that. It's true that we are using artificial intelligence in the way that our solution, the building technology as such, needs more and more artificial intelligence in the solution. We are on the platform as it is today, and as we plan to do it, there is less elements where I should say this is important for us, and we use it there. So from an ethical point of view, we are not directly related to that issue, if it is an issue or not. But from an automation point of view within the building technology, of course, artificial intelligence is key for us, and I think we will in the infrastructures more and more see that. And again, the whole ecosystem, the whole community will be confronted with that technology. So the electricians, the construction industry, the whole industry will have to deal with artificial intelligence.
I mean, Mike, I mean, coming back to the topic of artificial intelligence, I mean, you have different tools behind digitizing your customer experience, but in the different platform and projects you see, do you see more and more basically involvement or tools with artificial intelligence, or is it just in the beginning?
No, I think we are already a step further than just the beginning. More and more applications comes out now, definitely with basing on intelligence artificial. So what took a certain time from them to evolve all these products is collecting the data. Because it took certain time to collect it and so on, and now you it's like some mushrooms. It's pop up everybody or everywhere. I think the last example I saw for myself was buying clothes online, where they ask you, okay, how do you look like? What's your things? You are small, you're tall, or whatever. And then they give you, okay, 80% or 85% of the guys buying this will take an L or will take M. And on this 80%, there was just 2% to give it back. So it's a slight intelligent way to already have an interaction with you, but this begins and this comes more and more. And it's always what is already used is for, I would say, small execution of works or reflections, what could be done by human, but what goes definitely faster if you have a certain intelligence behind it, and for the execution of it, this goes further, and this could gonna help more and more. And I think in the future, it's as if said before, they collect data and give you afterwards an advice. And the small example of what I say now of the clothes, I think that's gonna be more over all the situation, and you could find it afterwards in all different industries.
Clearly an evolution there. I mean, for the ones who have never tried it, try the sentiment analysis also. You have certain tools available online and see what it can do. You will see that probably coming up pretty soon in the processes. Coming back to the internal team, Laurent, and we have a question here. How did your team initially welcome this digital transformation? And did they embrace it entirely? Yes.
Well, this is like with the different customer profiles. Some embrace it immediately. Others, you need to pass the point of no return, I should say, where you start appreciating the efficiency of digital services and the help of those ones. So and this is exactly why I was focusing on the internal training side, that we learn to use those technologies, because if I know how to use the technology and how to then I know how to communicate it and how to bring it further to my customers and to others. But of course, I shouldn't say that you're starting always with Pareto, but it's like that. You've got always the ones which say, well, that's really cool, we need to have that, and we should do that. And then you've got others which are more difficult to involve. And this is why I'm saying you need to be in the right market window. You can't do everything in one step. That's impossible, neither from the internal side nor from the external side. And this is also, I've seen that somebody was wondering if we would have had external help to start our project and to do that. I think the major reason to have that, so the answer is yes, we had private and public support on that, in order to get that guidance, to bring in everybody on at least in the same framework, and to have a certain external view as well. I think somebody was wondering, and you, Arnaud, was asking me the question, how did you bring in your customers? You can bring them in only with a discussion. You need to talk to them. Business is a human issue, and it's two people actually doing business together, and not two companies. It's people doing the business, and when it comes to complex things and to communication, we are lucky that we don't have any Ethernet and only no Wi-Fi interfaces on our bodies. So it's it's humans talking together. And I think this is important. And the more you have around the table, but I also believe, and coming back to what I said in the beginning of my presentation, you need to have a vision. Because if you don't have a long-term vision, you can't stay on track. As soon as many people are around the table, the discussion goes in different directions, and you need at least to keep the big direction together.
So the big direction, which is a business direction involving definitely the customer at the start. And again, here it's already we have spent an hour together, and we can see the passion with the two speakers we have today in their subject and how they want to communicate. So I want to thank you already, because it's already the end of this webinar. I want to thank Laurent and Mike for sharing their true experience. I want to thank the audience also for hopefully it was inspiring to you too, but also for your interaction. The next session will be in a month from now, and it will be. Oops, sorry, that's not the one I want to share with you. It should be a different slide. Here is the slide. So the next one will be actually on looking at the supplier front. So the supplier, digitizing the supplier. So from supplier to digital partner. And one of the key studies that was done by IBM some time ago was to say up to 65% of the value of your company's product and services is coming from your supplier. And that's why it's a key, like we just discussed the customer aspect today, which is very key. Next month, we're going to look at the suppliers. And for that, I invite you to register to the next session that will take the 20th of May. And without further ado, I understand everybody has a lot of meetings or potentially enjoying lunch. I want to thank again Laurent and Mike for sharing their experience today. And I welcome you, if any interest, and hopefully you have, on the supplier side, for the next session that will take place on the 20th of May at 11 a.m. Thank you very much, and wishing you a good day.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.